Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Sonia. I think there was I want to start my comments. There was a gentleman, Mr. Rubat, and he commented about budget busted, and he wasn't talking, I didn't hear him talk about the overall budget. He was talking about what I heard was individual projects, and we've seen overages throughout the last session. We've seen $31 million over for the training facility.
Sir, that's not the subject.
This is,
I mean, you can public comment
Mr.
can
Mayor.
happen, and we heard it, and we closed
Okay.
that. So you don't need to
I'm
comment.
talking about budgetary matters. So
You were going to address whatever's in the documents. It's quite extensive, and
you
please do.
didn't cut off Mr.
So that was a
Councilmember
separate
Durham when he
meeting.
did the same
I'm
thing.
in this meeting right now, okay? This meeting is for this question. And I'm just trying to be efficient.
Okay, so
If you
I
can
have
get-
several questions,
That's what I
Mr.
mean.
Mayor.
Let's get to the meeting.
I am getting to I am in the meeting.
Well, sir, I'm
Okay,
just
I'll
asking
continue.
you to assist me, not
So
to refer to some public.
what I heard was references to the budgets we saw with the roundabout, $6 million over, the Thompson Peak
Sure,
Park, $6 million over, Asher Hills, $4.7 million over, Westworld Horse Bonds, $2.7 million over, Bond 9 project, $6.3 million, and the sewer line that was $62 million over. So
Sir, you're talking about last year's action. This is about the
It's germane, it's
budget.
germane.
I'm trying to be very clear about
Yes.
what our subject is. Now, you're backtracking into an area.
Thank you, Mayor.
So please take it from what we are looking at, not from any comment from any candidate or somebody out there that made a comment.
no, not a candidate, it's
Or
just a-
somebody else that made a comment.
it's just a resident.
Well, there was another one. and
Thank you, Mayor.
Way too deep, okay, into other situations.
Another comment was made up here that we're not spending $2 billion, but this is, a budget is an authorization to spend $2 billion. Whether or not we spend that, I mean, that, we'll see what happens to the budget, but we are authorizing as a council to spend that, to write checks for $2 billion.
Sir, there's a
that's
5-year plan. There's a 5-year outlook. It's not, everything.
That's the annual budget.
But it's a budget that shows, as we have, we're adoption of a CIP on a 5-year projection. It's
How much do you think we spend a year?
Sir, you can only spend so much money per year, and that is according to how our CIP is already of record. That's all been reviewed. It's a separate.
Sonia, what's our annual budget?
So let's.
Go back to the slide that has our budget. On slide 3, you can see that our operating budget is $761.8 million. Now, I wanted to explain the difference between budget authority and what council approves. So we provide a budget authority, but there are still a lot of items that will have to show up on council agenda, whether it's consent or regular agenda, for council approval before we can actually spend the budget. So the operating budget is $761.8 million.
Correct.
Yes, and I also, just to respond to the previous speaker who looked up the MESA budget of $2.6 billion, majority of that is operating. So the MESA budget has almost a $2 billion operating budget, and our operating budget is $761.8 million.
What are our expected capital expenditures in FY25?
$1.068 billion.
Mr. Mayor, this is the current, you understand this is the current year authorization,
Sir, I
correct?
understand a lot of things. They've already been projected. I'm saying we don't necessarily.
But
spend-
I made a factual statement, and then you said I was wrong, and I'm just clarifying that I wasn't.
You said every year. We don't. I explained.
No, I
that-
didn't. No, I didn't.
Yes, you did,
I
sir.
said this year. Okay, I'll continue. Thank you, Mayor.
What you spend per year is different than what you project, and projects go over several years. So 1 year.
You understand this is 1 year,
Sir,
right?
I understand that, but.
But you
I'm
said I
saying-
was wrong, and I said,
Because a project is only done 30% that year, another 30% another year.
I understand that.
Well, that's
We're
what
not
I mean.
we're not debating that.
But that's how it becomes
Okay.
1.68 million. It's not because we spend all that money on that project And I said that when we
Is this
reduced
correct?
it,
Is
it's
the mayor
because
correct?
when we complete a project, it's done from our
Is the mayor stating that that's multiple years?
Mayor, Councilmember Graham, yes and no. So this is the authority that we're asking for fiscal year 24-25. However, this authority typically is spent over multiple years.
Right, right. It's authority.
But
Okay.
that's not what we, that's explained, again, and it was illustrated for each project by
Okay.
by Dan Worth.
Thank you. I'll continue, because I think that's pretty settled. For the 2 years that I've served on council, we've heard about, and I talked about this already, but cost overruns for projects. And those cost overruns have a price. We've deferred projects, we've postponed projects, and we hear about potholes, we hear about parks that are in disrepair and crumbling. Many of the postponed projects are now in year 5 of now they haven't been built yet, and it's 5 years since the 2019 bond package that voters told us that they want. So I think we're aware of how inflation has impacted projects. And after all, almost every time we've asked to approve a project, we've seen over and over again that projects double, triple. Sometimes we're so focused on the projects and the policy issues that we don't often address the influence inflation has on delivering for residents. So in summary, we're seeing big pay increases and delayed projects, all while telling residents that their taxes, and we raise fees and taxes, are going up. So I think that,
Sir,
I think
if you
this-
can
yes,
conclude, please.
yes, we just
We're all
raised
listening
fees and
to your-
taxes.
And I don't know,
Yeah.
we'll do a fact check
I'm allowed
later.
to finish my statement.
Yes, sir,
Thank you.
but please.
So in conclusion, I
talking
think
about-
this council can do better in balancing personnel compensation, delivering projects and services to residents, and honoring our obligations to taxpayers.